usually you will expect mas maliit yung babies. Okay? Okay, so for the detailed fetal anomaly, this is performed when risk for fetal structural or genetic abnormality is elevated. Okay? Fetal structure. This is what we call congenital anomaly scan or yung mga targeted fetal anomaly. Okay, so usually we do it as a routine in the 18 to 22 weeks. Most of the mothers would say they want to know what are problems with babies. Okay, so this is an example of, this is the head and you can see fluid within. So may hydrocephalus si baby, may ventriculomegaly. And this is a picture of omphalocele, wherein there's a defect in the abdominal wall, and gastroschisis. Okay. So ang ultrasound talaga really can help us in prognosticating and help us in managing the baby. Okay, fetal echo as well. Although this one, further training siya for sonologists. Usually, mga pediatric cardiologists na nag-fetal echo, but some obstetricians, those in the maternal fetal medicine, mga perinatology, they are the ones who does the fetal echo. And it's usually for fetal cardiac structure and function. So kung may known history si mother na may heart disease, kaya diabetic, we can subject the baby for fetal echo. Okay? Limited ultrasound examination would mean, for example, you just want to check for the fluid or the placenta, kaya limited lang. And then three-dimensional ultrasound, static imaging obtained by processing a volume of stored images like this. So if you want to confirm, for example, diba sa patient kanina may cleft lip, you would want to check by 3D imaging kung talagang may cleft lip siya. Okay? And nowadays, diba ito yung nagiging commercialized? Kasi diba, ang ganda-ganda ng tsura ng baby. Compare it with a 2D na flat lang. You can see already this one almost formed na siya, no? And then sino ang gusto nilang malaman lagi? Doc, matangos po ba ilong? Yun ang common nilang tanong, or sino kahawig? No? So what is the difference between a 3D and a 4D? So pag 3D static, stored image lang siya. While 4D moving, it's like a video clip. Okay? This, the images are taken almost pareho lang if you do a 3D and a 4D. Ang difference lang is yung 4D kasi moving video siya. So limitations here is it must be surrounded by amniotic fluid for better visualization and lengthen time for completion. So pag lengthen time, mas more exposure, mas higher din yung thermal index. Pag 3D, 4D. So it has been said that it's only used as an adjunct. So hindi naman siya routine or required to do the 3D, 4D. Its advantage on prenatal diagnosis generally lack. So hindi naman lahat ng patients should undergo the 3D, 4D examination. Okay? Any questions so far? So let's proceed with detection and characterize abnormalities of the fetus, amniotic fluid, and placenta. So na-mention ko na kanina yung abnormalities of the fetus, no? Pero amniotic fluid and placenta in the next following slide. So given this case, 32-year-old, gravida 3 para 2, previous CS with profuse vaginal bleeding. So ang pinaka-important dito, she has a previous cesarean section and may bleeding. And then in the ultrasound, at 22 weeks, anteriorly implanted placenta covering the os. So this is a case of kung covering the os, instead of the head presenting, yung placenta ang nasa ibaba. What is this? Placenta previa, correct. So the cause of the bleeding is probably placenta previa. Okay. What is the best diagnostic procedure to request? So yung last ultrasound niya, 22 weeks. She's already 28. Bawal ba mag-ultrasound pag may bleeding? No. Di ba sabi kanina doon, to evaluate vaginal bleeding, bawal mag-IE. internal examination, but we can do an ultrasound kasi gentle lang naman ang abdominal ultrasound and transvaginal ultrasound. So we want to know to evaluate the anatomical relationship between the placenta and the internal cervical walls. Umbilical cord insertion, and also to help us evaluate placenta preta spectrum. So pag sinabing placenta preta, naka-adhere or naka-invade, naka-encroach yung placenta into the uterine serosa. Kaya ang significance niya kanina, previous CS. So these are the reasons why we actually do not want cesarean section. Kasi na-increase yung risk for placenta preta. No? For every cesarean section that we do, for example, first pregnancy, second pregnancy, CS, third. So na-increase yung risk for placenta preta. Okay? So ito siya, you want to evaluate the anatomical relationship. So this is a transvaginal ultrasound. This is the cervix, this is the placenta and the head. Okay? So hindi pwedeng maunang placenta sa head. So this is the one that caused the bleeding. Okay? Much so kung nagle-labor si patient, no? Pag nagle-labor may myometrial contractions, this would induce bleeding. And when we say bleeding, torrential bleeding, very, very problematic bleeding. And we do not want that in pregnancy. Okay? So this is a case of placenta previa. Low-lying placenta naman, if the placenta, you can see the edge of the placenta is not on the cervical os, but near. So when we say previa, it's covering the os or even the edge somehow, and dito. Pag low-lying, if the edge is within 2 centimeters. So this can only be seen via ultrasound. And a transvaginal ultrasound, hindi transabdominal. Okay? Abnormalities of the umbilical cord insertion, we can also use the ultrasound to help us kung Battledore, Villamentus, and Vasa previa. Okay, some pictures of placenta preta. Ito yung nakakatakot na picture, no? So, this is the bladder, this is the placenta, and you can see this one. Merong, we call this one lacunar legs. Kung nakita mo na yan, no? And then this one, yung vascularity niya is within the, ito na yung myometrium na siya, ay near the cervix na to kasi bladder na to. And then also this one. So it should be diagnosed early on. So usually pag 22, 23 so during the congenital scans, tapos ang history previous CS, at ang placenta ay previa. So the sonologist should detect or check kung merong evidence of placenta preta. Why? Because the pregnancy or the delivery should be scheduled. No? Scheduled siya. Okay? How about this one? This is a cesarean scar pregnancy. We're in previous cesarean to, you can see this one. The gestational sac is at the lower uterine segment. Wala siya sa uterus pero nasa lower uterine segment siya. So the defect is in here. Okay? So ultrasound can help us with that. What about cervical length? Na-mention ko kanina, no? One of the indications is checking or assessing the cervical length. So what is the utility of cervical length? This will help us in terms of evaluating the risk for preterm labor. Diba? So we have pregnancies, ilang pregnancies na niya, preterm lagi ang mga deliveries. And we know that the first most important risk factor for preterm delivery is a prior preterm delivery. So for example, less than preterm siya, 35 weeks siya kung mga pregnancies niya usually preterm. So we check for the cervix usually at 16 to 24 weeks. No? To help us see kung nagda-dilate yung cervix. Okay? So this one, 16 weeks and onwards, especially those with previous preterm birth, because a short cervix is associated with an elevated risk of preterm labor. Okay? So this is a normal looking cervix, this is the head. But look at this one. Nag-shorten, no? This is the cervix, but you can see this one, meron ng funneling. Dito siya. Ito yung tinatawag na funneling. And if you also see, funneling is a protrusion of the amniotic fluid, and also if there are presence of sludge or debris within the close to the internal os. Highly suggestive of preterm labor. Okay? So yung management will be on the pathological side. So ito lang, that's how we use ultrasound and help us in detecting cervical. Amniotic fluid. I mentioned earlier, we can also measure the amniotic fluid, diba? And we know that fluid is very, very important in the following. So hindi ko na siya iisa-isahin. Very importantly is for the development of normal lung flow. Diba? Kung walang fluid ang baby at the early on, hindi magde-develop yung lungs niya. Okay? So, this one, the composition of the amniotic fluids early in pregnancy, similar to the extracellular fluid. But on the later age of gestation, fetal urination is very important as the primary source of amniotic fluid. So, yung urine niya, yun din yung ini-inhale niya. So, di ba, we're once of babies before yun yung nangyari sa atin. Yung babies tayo. Okay? And then, very importantly, yung swallowing. Very important yung swallowing ng baby. Kung hindi na sa swallow ng baby, what will happen? Increased fluid within the amniotic sac kasi hindi na sila swallow eh. So polyhydramnios, correct. Okay, so this is the normal amniotic fluid volume. So oligohydramnios is abnormally decreased and then poly is abnormally increased. So how do we measure fluid? By ultrasound, so we can do it semi-quantitative. So if this is the abdomen, we divide it into 4 quadrants, then get the fluid here, fluid. So, and then add. Okay. So yung tinatawag na AFI, 4 quadrants. But pero kung SVP or deep vertical pocket, we just measure 1 segment, which is the largest pocket. Ang difference ito, ano yung normal values? So pag SVP or DVP, what is the normal value that we should get here? Pag DVP or MVP or SVP, ano normal value dapat? Nasa lectures na yun. 2 to 8. No? 2 to 8. Pag poly naman, ay pag AFI is between 5 to 24. Okay? Okay, let's go to Doppler. So, na-mention ko kanina yung baby na maliit, no? Growth restricted baby. So, Doppler is to determine the volume and rate of blood flow through the maternal and fetal vessels. So, we have specific vessels that we check for Doppler. Okay, so i-pass ko na to. Okay. Ang very important sa Doppler is yung waveforms at saka yung, just imagine the flow of the RBCs flowing to the vessel. Diba? So, pag sinabing vasoconstricted, ibig sabihin maraming parang traffic within the vessel kasi vasoconstricted siya. So, if there's traffic within the vessel, there would be slowing down of the RBCs. That would give us the vessel, the waveform would give a lower waveform due to vasoconstriction. But if there's normal flow, walang obstruction, the vessels are usually low resistance, so they will give a higher waveform. Okay, so that's the very essence of Doppler. High resistance or low resistance to flow. We have different Doppler indices that we use. So just to mention lang yung mga RI, resistance index, and then the pulsatility index. So, kino-compute yan ng machine, and then we interpret it if it's high or low, depending on the age of gestation. And these are the different fetal and maternal vessels that we check. So, pag maternal lang, uterine artery lang. Yun lang na na-check natin. But for fetal, umbilical artery and yung middle cerebral artery. Okay? So, just to show you some waveforms, no? Pag umbilical artery, di ba sabi ko nga, pag higher waveform, low resistance, normal flow. Okay? Look at this, normal. And if you see this one, absent and diastolic flow, and then this one is reversed. Bumalik that. So the absent and the reverse would give us a sign that the baby is not doing well. umbilical artery to, no? So, ibig sabihin, yung flow, ano bang umbilical artery? Oxygenated or deoxygenated? Deoxygenated, di ba? So, pag absent or reverse na, ibig sabihin there's something going on with the vein. No? So, usually, pag absent, usually mga 30% may problem na yan sa placenta. Pag reverse, usually 70% na yan. So, these are the babies that we check and monitor closely. Kasi at the time na pag nagre-reverse na siya, usually, dinideliver na itong baby na to. Okay, kasi should we wait for further deterioration of the baby, we can intervene earlier. So that's the utility of ultrasound and Doppler. Di ba may mga antepartum surveillance tayong ni-lecture last week? So we use it in conjunction with the Doppler. Yung mga BPS, non-stress test. Okay? So, ductus erythroiosus, not much, but it's usually for fetuses exposed to endomethacin. Okay? Sa mommy naman, uterine artery. If you see the notch here, this is the one that is abnormal pag may presence of the notch. Okay? Pag middle cerebral artery naman, it would actually signify fetal hypoxemia or redistribution of the blood flow at the expense of other organs. So this would mean adaptation to oxygen deprivation. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, for fetal growth restriction, we use this Doppler velocimetry, and also for fetal anemia, pwede rin we use MCA, PSV, peak systolic velocity. Okay. And then for ductus venosus, this one is the last stronghold of the label. If the ductus venosus would show abnormalities, so kailangan na talagang i-deliver yung baby. No? This will reflect cardiac dysfunction. Okay, so ibig sabihin kasi pag may problem na si ductus, in about ilang hours, pwedeng mamatay yung baby. We can have stillbirth already. So that's the reason why we use the Doppler to guide in the management. Okay? And then the last one is MRI. We rarely use MRI for obstetrics, only for cases to complement in evaluating suspected fetal abnormalities. Also for placenta, evaluate maternal pelvic masses and placental invasion. Or for example, may mga ovarian masses na hindi masyado ma-detect by ultrasound, we can use MRI. Okay? So this is very time-consuming and limited to referral centers with expertise in fetal imaging. So this is the reason why we rarely use this, only reserved for indicated cases. Okay? So that's it for obstetrical imaging. Any questions? Clear naman? Introduce ko lang ng konti. 15 minutes na lang eh. Start ko lang ng konti yung prenatal diagnosis. Tapos the rest, we can discuss it with the